Welcome, everybody, to the College Football Weekly Pick'em Show on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. The College Football Weekly Pick'em Show was brought to you by BetNow.eu. Make sure you use the promo code TRUTH100 to get a 100% cash back bonus on your first deposit. I am your co-host, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I'd like to welcome in my other co-host, Brian Schmidt. How you doing, Schmitty?
I'm doing good. You sound tired today.
Oh, I just
You
woke
don't have
up,
that.
so that's why I told you
Have that
7. And I set my alarm for 6:55, and I got up, and I thought, I'm not awake yet. So I'm awake now, and I'm ready to go. Is that better?
Oh,
We'll give it a shot. We're going to start off. We're going to pick all top 20, all games that have a top 25 team in them. And we're going to start off with SMU at number 25, TCU. And TCU, as always, Brian's trying to establish itself as a Big 12 powerhouse. They've had a few down years. Very well coached team. They play SMU. They are favored by 9.5 over SMU. Who do you like here, Brian? Brian? Ah, I think we lost Brian. Oh, let's see. We'll try it again then. Hold on, we're calling right now. This is technology.
damn! You didn't have to hang up.
I didn't. I thought maybe you realized how bad you did in the NFL show and you just wanted to get out of here. All right. SMU.
No, my college picks have been way better. Thank God.
Yeah. SMU at number 25, TCU. TCU is favored by 9.5, Brian. Who do you got here?
You know, I'm gonna take TCU. The point spread scares me a little bit because SMU has actually played pretty well, but I'm gonna take TCU. I think they'll win by at least 10 to 12.
All right, I'm going to go with SMU in the points. My concern is with TCU's offense. I think it's a major concern. I think SMU's a tough team. I think 9.5 points is too much to give there. All right, let's move on to number 24, Arizona State against Colorado. Colorado's looked pretty good to start this year. Had a big win against Nebraska, but they immediately stumbled and lost to a good Air Force team in overtime. Arizona State put up, I think it's easy to say, an incredible defensive effort last week against Michigan State. And although I think the Sun Devils may suffer the same fate that Colorado did by losing a big win at home after a major win, I'm going to take Colorado into 7.5 points here, Brian. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think coming off that big win against Michigan State is a concern, and also even though Colorado lost to Air Force. That 7.5, I think, is a little bit too much. I'm going to take Colorado.
All right, let's go to number 23, Cal. What are the surprises so far this season? They will be playing at Ole Miss. Ole Miss has bounced back with 2 straight wins after losing the opening game to Memphis. Memphis is a really good team, though. California against Ole Miss, Brian. Ole Miss is favored by 2.
Yeah, and I'm gonna take California to win this. I'm still not sold on Ole Miss. They've had 2 wins, but I feel like California, from what I've seen, is a better team, and I'm gonna take California.
Yeah, I agree. I'm taking California also. I think Cal has played the better competition. Ole Miss, the one good team they played, did beat them, which was Memphis, and Memphis is a solid team. So I think California is better, even though it's at Mississippi, and I know they're a Pac-12 team going to the SEC, but for once, I think the Pac-12 prevails in that matchup. Next up, interesting matchup. Number 22, Washington will be at BYU. I think this is a huge game, revenge for the Washington Huskies in 1984, as they should have been in national championships, and they gave it to BYU, Schmitty. You think Washington makes up for that as a 6.5 point road dog?
Yeah, I think Washington will, and I heard that Washington was watching that BYU Michigan game from '84 as a little bit of locker room fire up for this game. So
Well, see, anytime we have Joe Kelly on him with us, he played for Washington. All you got to do is say 1984, and he freaks out because he was on the Washington team, and that Washington team was the best team in the country. They beat who was it, Oklahoma, 28-17 in the Orange Bowl that year. Um, I don't know because Washington is a 6.5 point favorite. I'm going to take Washington. BYU, I think, is not nearly as good as they were in 1984 with Robbie Bosco. Next up, Old Dominion at number 21, Virginia. Virginia's favored by 29.5, Brian.
Yeah, and I'm gonna take Virginia. Has been very impressive. I'm gonna take Virginia. Old Dominion. They were a decent team about 3-4 years ago, but they really haven't found that magic that they had. And Virginia's tough. I've seen them play a couple times already, and they are tough.
Yeah, and they struggled against Florida State, but got the win. But Florida State's a really talented team. I think the question is there, Willie Taggart. I'm going to take Virginia and give the 29.5 points also. Next up, we have the old possible letdown. Air Force is getting 8.5 points at Boise State. Of course, they just beat Colorado last week. And Boise State, I think, is a really good team. Hank Backmeyer, I think, has been really good this season. Air Force is going to play keep away. And I'll go back to it. Boise State Marshall, 14-7 game. I think Air Force at least covers this game and may possibly go to Boise State and win, Brian.
I agree. I think Air Force is gonna get overlooked in this game, but offensively they play that academy style football with the option and running game, and they're not a terrible team defensively. Boise State, this is a good team, but this is a game that I think Air Force, not only do I think they'll cover the spread, but I think Air Force really does have a chance to pull the upset.
All right, the Chip Kelly experiment at UCLA might not last as long as we thought the way things have been going this year. They traveled to number 19, Washington State. Mike Leach's Cougars are 18.5-point favorites here, Brian. That's a lot of points.
Yeah, but I'm going to take those points. UCLA has just looked terrible. And I read an article where they're asking Chip Kelly, why are you not running the same offense that you ran when you were at Oregon? And his response was, well, football has evolved. And I'm sorry, but Mike Leach has been running the same offense since 1993 or 4 when they were at Iowa Wesleyan. And it's evolved, but it's the same offense. And I just think that this UCLA team is bad. And I think, Chip Kelly may not be as good a coach as what he once was. And I think maybe it was more about the people that were around him than him himself.
Well, how about this? I don't think they have the talent to run the air raid. I don't think the quarterback there is good enough to run it. So if he would have said, I don't have the right players yet, this is only my second year, give me a break, I could understand that. But what he said makes no
me
sense.
Too.
Yeah.
Me too. Yep.
Because I don't think he does have that talent there yet. Next, the number 16 ranked Oregon Ducks are giving 10 points at Stanford. I'll pick this one first. UCF put 45 points on Stanford. USC put 45 points on Stanford. Give the 10 points, take Oregon. Brian?
Yeah, definitely take Oregon. Stanford's struggling right now, and they're not doing a whole lot offensively. They're not doing a whole lot defensively, and Oregon is a tough team. So, yeah, take Oregon in the points.
All right, next up, the UCF Knights. 12.5-point favorites at Pitt. Pitt last week gave Penn State all they could handle, only lost by 7 points. But I'll say it right here, UCF is a lot better than Penn State. I'm taking UCF, and I'm giving the points, Brian.
Yeah, me too. UCF is again, look at this program and what they've done in the last 3 years. And their quarterback that they've had, has been injured, not able to play, and they're still rolling right along. They've got a couple of really good quarterbacks in the program right now. So
yeah, they get one away from Notre Dame, and now they've got a freshman, which makes it look like they could continue this for a few more years. And the schedule this year, I mean, they've already beaten Stanford. They're going to play Pitt. The conference, the AAC, is much better. You've got Memphis, Cincinnati. So I think after a while, if they go undefeated, there's got to be a point where we've got to let them into college football playoff and prove whether they can do this or not.
Yeah, I agree. And you and I have probably said this for 2 years. They deserve the opportunity.
Yeah, and we've also said this. Nobody's ever probably going to give them a chance no matter what the hell they do.
Yep.
So
that's also been said.
All right. Next, we've got Oklahoma State. The Cowboys will travel to Texas. The number 12 ranked Texas Longhorns are 6.5-point favorites, Brian.
Yeah, and this game concerns me. I've seen Oklahoma State play a couple times, and this is a really good football team. You're going into Texas, but let's be honest, going into Texas isn't the same as it was back in the 80s, and it's a different atmosphere. It's not the same thing. And Oklahoma State has gone to Texas and won. Texas may win this, but I think it's going to be a real close game, and I'm going to take Oklahoma State.
All right, I'm going to go with Texas. I think Oklahoma State is undefeated, but they really haven't played anyone yet. You know, Texas went life or death with LSU. Sam Erlinger, or whatever the hell you say his name, hasn't thrown a pick all season. The Cowboys' defense, I think, is not very good. Texas isn't great. I think it's a little bit better. I think Texas covers, wins by 10. Next up, the number 10, Utah Utes are 10-point favorites at USC, Brian.
They're a 10-point favorite. Whew. Utah may win this game and take USC in the points. That's an awful lot of points. USC has not played bad. They had the overtime game BYU, but that's a lot of points, especially on the road. So I take USC in the points.
All right, I'm taking Utah, and I'm giving it 10 points. I think Utah is the best team in the Pac-12. I think they're going to beat up USC pretty good. And my other prediction is this. I don't think Clay Helton, after he gets blown out here, I don't think he survives more than another week or two.
That could be possible, especially if they get blown out.
All right, number 9, Florida hosts Tennessee. This used to be a rivalry where Tennessee couldn't beat Florida no matter what. And it still is, Brian. What do you think? Florida's favored by 14.
Yeah, take Florida in the points. Tennessee is not very good.
It's 14 points, though. And I don't think Tennessee is terrible. And 14 is a lot of points in a rivalry game. I think the Gators win the game. But I'm going to take Tennessee in the points.
Yeah, and I did kind of forget that Florida's quarterback's out, too. So, yeah, I kind of agree. I think it is a little bit too many points. I forgot that Florida's quarterback is out for a season. But, yeah, I agree. Go with Tennessee.
All right. Now we have the Battle of Ohio as the Miami Redhawks. We'll go to Ohio State to take on the Buckeyes. Ohio State, these odds are dropping quick, Brian, because yesterday Ohio State was favored by 40. Now it's 39.5. What do you think?
Yeah, take Ohio State. If it keeps dropping, Ohio State's going to cover this. There's not a doubt in my mind.
I'll take Miami in the points. I watched Miami go to Iowa. They covered. They almost covered against Cincinnati. I think they're a well-coached team, and I think Ohio State's up 28-0 in the first quarter, and then they just let all the kids play, and it ends up like 48-10, which covers the spread.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, you didn't say that convinced. All right, number 4, LSU, 24-point favorites at Vanderbilt, Brian.
Yeah, I'm going to take LSU. That's a pretty good football team, and I got to be honest, anytime the head coach for LSU gives a presser, it's well worth listening to. That guy's hilarious.
If you can understand him, yeah.
Yeah, that's what makes him hilarious.
All right. Now Alabama's playing much better competition this week. As the number 2 Crimson Tide are only favored by 39 against Southern Miss. I think I'll take Bama and give the points.
Yeah, I'm going to take Bama, but the points kind of scared me at first. I mean, not that Alabama won't cover, because Alabama I did win when taking New Mexico State, but they seem like they're getting better. And Southern Miss is a good football team, but Southern Miss defense is not very good. So
I'll tell you this,
Alabama.
I don't think Alabama's defense is near what it used to be. That's what scares me giving points anytime here, because you figure they're probably going to give up a couple touchdowns at least.
Yeah, but I Southern Miss. And that's the thing. Southern Miss offensively is pretty good. And I like the over/under that I saw. The last one I saw was like 61.5, and I'm not too sure that may not be a good one to take an over.
Yeah. All right. Next up, Charlotte will take on Clemson, and I think Clemson's just going to beat her up. What do you think? I mean, Clemson's favored by 41.5 points, and I will give those points.
Yeah, me too. That's Clemson's gonna just Clemson in Charlotte. This one, Charlotte's not a bad football team, but against Clemson, it's going to be like varsity and JV. So,
all right, let's go to some games that are a little bit more interesting. We've got Michigan at Wisconsin. The Badgers had the home field advantage, and the great Jonathan Taylor. The Wolverines have an 8-6 record since 2016, and road record. And if you believe, some message boards, Jacques Charbonneau may not play, or he's at least dinged up. The Badgers have a surprisingly efficient quarterback in Jake Cohn, who's completed over 75% of his passes. Shea Patterson, 4 fumbles already this year. Now, here's inside the numbers. We're going to do a little, this is for the Sheridan Report, my buddy Bobby Sheridan, who does the Sheridan Report. You can check him out on Twitter at Sheridan Report. We're going to give you some stats here. The home team dominates this series, 9-1 since 2002. Now, top 25 home teams, after a week off, have covered the spread at a 60% clip since 2005. So, when I look at this, Michigan is favored by 3.5 at Wisconsin. I'm taking Wisconsin, and I'm giving them points, Brian. Or I'm taking them with the points. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm with you taking Wisconsin, and I'm not going. Not only am I going to take Wisconsin in points, I really believe Wisconsin is going to win this game.
That's a homer pick because you're a Buckeye fan.
No, Wisconsin is impressive, and Michigan's not jumping out at me at all.
They beat a good Army team. I think Army.
Yeah, Army should win that game.
I don't think Army blows or gets blown out by anybody in the country, to tell you the truth. Ask Oklahoma. Next up, Auburn is +3 at Texas A&M, and this is a great Week 4 matchup. The weird fact here is that since 2012, Auburn is 3-0 playing at College Station, and Texas A&M is 3-1 playing on Auburn. So who you got here, Schmidt? Auburn's at Texas A&M. Auburn is favored by, or Auburn is getting 3.5 points.
Yeah, I'm going to take Auburn. I think maybe just a little bit better football team, but this game is going to tell a lot about Auburn. I think they're a little bit better football team, but until you really see it, it's hard to tell. But Texas A&M, I think, is a good football team, well coached, but I think Auburn's got a little bit more this year. I'm going to take Auburn.
Yeah, I'm going to take Auburn and give it 3.5 points. Next up, number 7 Notre Dame at number 3 Georgia. Big game of the week. Georgia is favored by 14.5. Brian.
Yeah, that's a lot of points. I think Georgia will win this game, but I think Notre Dame will cover the spread.
Yeah, I think 14.5 points is nuts. I think they're going off of what happened with Clemson last year, what happened against Bama a few years back in a national championship game for Notre Dame. And I think what people are missing here is, has Georgia played anybody yet?
No.
And Notre Dame and they really haven't either. But I think 14.5 points is way too much to give here. I like Ian Book. I think he's a really good college quarterback. Jake Fromm, I think, is a hell of a quarterback. But 14.5 points in a regular season game, I'm taking Notre Dame also, Brian. And I don't even think that's that difficult to do.
Nope, not at all.
All right. Let's see if we can throw in a couple more. What do you think about, let me find one here. Connecticut at Indiana. Since I do an Indiana Football Weekly show. What do you think? Indiana's favored by 28.
Yeah. And I think I would definitely roll with Indiana in the points. Connecticut has not looked very good. Not saying Indiana's a world beater, but Connecticut's not very good. So I'll take Indiana.
I'm going to go with Connecticut and take the 28. Connecticut got 20 against Illinois and covered and damn near won the game. Illinois is terrible, though. How's Lovie Smith keep his job?
I don't think he's going to. I think he's on the way out, especially at Eastern Michigan, which the thing is, Eastern Michigan has been a Big Ten killer in the last 3 or 4 years. So it didn't surprise me they won, but that was a game that Lovie Smith and Illinois did not need to lose for him to continue to keep his job.
And he won't much longer. Next up, I just got to bring this up. This is my lock of the week. Michigan State is a 9.5-point favorite at Northwestern. The stat here, if you're a handicapper, that sticks out to me is the Wildcats are 13-6-1. In their last 20 meetings as an underdog, Mark D'Antonio is 3-10 as a road favorite. I'm taking Northwestern in the points here.
Yeah, I am too. You didn't even have to tell me all that.
It didn't hurt, though, right?
No, it definitely didn't hurt. But Northwestern, that is in my opinion, Northwestern has shown to be the team when it comes in the Big Ten that, about every 2 to 3 years, they have a really good team. But the one thing they do every year is they play Michigan State well. They'll upset one of the, so-called big boys every year. So, to me, that's too many points.
Well, the thing about them with Pat Fitzgerald is they're just a tough team.
Yes.
Physically tough, mentally tough. What do you think about Houston and Tulane? I actually like that matchup. Nobody talks about it.
I actually like that one too. And what's the point spread right now?
Because I think that game is tonight.
It is tonight.
Yeah, I don't even see a point spread on the game. Oh, hold on. Tulane is favored by 5.5 at Tulane.
I think this is going to be a really good game and a close game. I won't be surprised if, Tulane to win, but I think Houston will cover the spread. I think this is going to be a really close game.
I think Tulane wins because I think they're defensively, I think they're a better team than Houston, which wouldn't take a whole hell of a lot.
No.
Tulane wins. If I had to bet this, though, I may take the 5.5 in Houston. Because this seems like a lot of point for a game that I think is going to be really close.
Yeah.
But, all right, Brian, anything else you want to add before we wrap this up?
No, I'm looking forward to another college football week. I seem to have better picks than I do in my NFL picks. My NFL picks have tanked. So.
Yeah, me too. But I'm not as bad as you are in the NFL.
No, you're not as bad as I am. No.
But, hey, I'm bad. But that's changing this week anyways. I already told everybody that. If you want to listen to our NFL weekly pick'em show, you can get that on thegrilling.truth.com also, as well as if you'd like the Canadian Football League. Myself, Brian, Robert Drummond do a CFL weekly pick'em show, which is also up for the week. So make sure you check that out. And you like rugby, Brian?
Rugby's not bad.
I like rugby. The Rugby World Cup,
yeah.
You can go on the grillingtruth.com and actually read our rugby previews for Group A and B, which are up. And I think that starts in 2 days. It may be a day because of the time thing, because it's in Japan, which means I'm not going to get to watch most of it because most of them are played when I go to bed, which is like at 3 in the morning. So
that's true.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you, from a rugby standpoint, rugby it is a lot of fun to watch, but rugby sevens is actually pretty interesting and pretty cool to watch as well.
I like all rugby. They need to show it more. It's better than that soccer crap. But, all right, guys, we're going to wrap the show up. Make sure you check us out. We're usually on Wednesday nights. Couldn't last night, but just keep an eye out on Twitter, at Grilling Truth, see when the next show is, but we're looking at probably next Wednesday night. All right, you can hear all of our shows on iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you find sports podcasts, you'll find The Grueling Truth. So for Brian Schmidt, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.